Beginning our third exploration of Mount Wilson. That's the Pointy Mountain behind the Horse Thief Canyon Road sign. And here we are on Horse Thief Canyon Road and heading to Mount Wilson. We got close to the summit last time, and now we have a streamlined idea of how to get there. So let's see if we can get to the summit. Here we go. Okay, we're nearing the end of Horse Thief Canyon Road. There it is below us. And what we've done is we've ascended the ridge to the left. And the reason for that is that that's the only way around the barrier at the end of Horse Thief Canyon Road. There's a dry waterfall, and what you need to do is climb the ridge here, and then go over that dry waterfall to the left, and then descend back into Horse Thief Canyon. So I just started up this ridge a little earlier, more gradual, and soon we will be descending into Horse Thief Canyon, Upper Horse Thief Canyon, above that dry waterfall. So just get a quick 360-degree view. There you have the, approaching the end of Horse Thief Canyon Road, and you can see up ahead there is a ridge that we're going to just skirt the top of that ridge and then descend again into the canyon. And here's the 360-degree view of where we are. Very rugged, untouched area here. Not very well known. And then looking down in this direction, we're seeing the Mount Charleston Wilderness. And then continuing around, we see Fortification Hill coming into view, and that little point on the upper left is the actual summit of Fortification Hill. And you can see the Fortification Hill page on LasVegasAreaTrails.com. What else is there around here? We may, not for sure, but we may be looking at Gas Peak in the distance. The northern area of Las Vegas, northern edge. So let's continue around. And now you can see the rugged black mountains. We need to find our way up to Mount Wilson. And another good thing about being on this ridge rather than down on Horse Thief Canyon Road at this point is that, yes, we have a view of our destination, Mount Wilson. And then back to Horse Thief Canyon Road below us. And there you have the whole story right here of where we are. Okay, let's continue. Let's get above that dry waterfall barrier and get into Upper Horse Thief Canyon. Here we go. Yes, ascending this ridge while it was still low was a good choice, because now it just continues on up. You can see the end of Horse Thief Canyon and the cliffs at the upper edge of Horse Thief Canyon immediate below. And it doesn't seem like I've actually worked too hard to ascend, because look how high we are here. There's Horse Thief Canyon Road below us. So definitely ascend this ridge and just skirt the upper left border of Horse Thief Canyon. And there we have the Mount Charleston Wilderness, and then over to the left there is Potosi Mountain, Red Rock Park area. Well, probably not, but Potosi Mountain definitely. And then looking down in this direction, you see more of Gas Peak emerging. And looking over here, you can see the summit of Fortification Hill. And then you can see how we are ascending now. Oops. Okay, let's try that again. You can see how we're ascending the Black Mountains, and we've gained about 1,000 feet since we began down on Highway 93 and White Rock Canyon exit. So, yeah, let's go over this ridge, descend into Horse Thief Canyon, and continue on. Here we are at the summit of this passageway above Lower Horse Thief Canyon, and you can see Horse Thief Canyon Road below us, and over beyond these rocks here in the foreground is that dry waterfall. And we pan around here, and here you can see Upper Horse Thief Canyon. All we have to do now is descend, and there's actually, believe it or not, a little trail here. So sometimes when you take the logical route, you look at ridges and approaches, you'll find you are not the first to have figured this out. So there we are looking up Horse Thief Canyon, and you can see the tip of Mount Wilson up ahead in the distance. So we have now made our first stage of this journey all the way up to the very upper end of Horse Thief Canyon Road, and then over the edge of this this ridge here, and then descending down into Upper Horse Thief Canyon, which is below, and just following this easy little trail that takes you over the ridge. So here we go. Okay, that was really easy. We just descended this ridge and descended into Horse Thief Canyon, and now there are any number of passageways along the canyon. Pick your route, but it's pretty simple. Stay in the canyon till we get to the Horse Thief Canyon Springs. Okay, that's coming up. Here we go. You can't miss when you get to the springs. It's the only place in the canyon so far that has full-size trees and some flowing water. And a lot of the flowing water that I saw a few weeks ago when I was here is dried up a little further down the canyon. So I'm assuming that this will also dry up during the hot months of the summer. However, it looks like, based on these trees up ahead, that there continues to be water underground year-round. Okay, let's get a 360. And you see the canyon we've been winding up here. And it's pretty easy. Just keep weaving around rocks and some light brush up to this point. The brush is going to get heavier when we hit the springs here, and then we'll have a choice: either head up a canyon to the right as we did last time, or see if we can continue straight up and ascend the Mount Wilson Ridge a little closer, a little further up the canyon. That would be ideal, but we may need to take that right again and ascend to the top of the ridge. Either way, it's a steady upward ascent. So here we go. A little more of the spring. You can see these very large trees for an area like this. Takes a lot of water. And the ground is indeed damp in a lot of places. A lot of underbrush. We'll see if we can continue on up this canyon, or if we have to take that right and ascend a ridge around the corner up here and to the right. Oh, lots of life in this spring area. You hear birds singing. Nice and cool. The effect of water in the desert. There's actually a lower spring and an upper spring. Here's the upper area, and who knows, the springs may continue on up the canyon, but you can see the trees are even more green and well watered, at least some of them. And here we are looking down the canyon. I believe this spot is the area where we went up a side canyon to the right because we could not continue through the brush. Maybe there's a high road here that descends back into the canyon. We don't know. We're going to just check it out and see what we can find. Here we go. We've just passed the right split off that I took last time, and as you can see in the other video, I took that ridge. I went up this canyon, took this ridge, and then continued on up the ridge. It was a nice little ascent, but the bottom of the ridge was a little bit brutal. But it looks like I can continue on up this canyon. So let's go ahead and just see where this leads. Horse Thief Canyon, Main Canyon, continuing on up in the canyon. Not too bad, actually. It wouldn't be too hard to just go right up that crack there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle around here and go up over the ridge on the left here, and then descend back down into the canyon. See if that works for me. This is right. That's pretty easy. In fact, there are signs here that I'm not the first one to bypass the rock barriers, even though they weren't so great. And it looks like we just continue on up. So we will do that and keep winding around and see where we get. I think I need to wind around the other side of this large cliff area, and then maybe we'll see Mount Wilson and we'll see a direct route up to the summit. And then here's the area that we just circumvented, having to climb over rocks there. Much easier. Okay, let's continue. Continuing up Horse Thief Canyon. I want to get around this next bend, see what we can see if we can see the upper ridge of Mount Wilson and the Black Mountains. But yeah, has been pretty easy weaving around up this canyon. The downside is that you really can't see around. You can't see the landscape because you're down in this canyon. So for that reason, I kind of like the ridge I was on the other day. But let's see if we can find a direct ascent up to Mount Wilson further up this canyon, which would make this a preferable route. And it's pretty easy navigating this. There's not a whole lot of brush except where the springs were, but there's always a way around. And when you hit a rock fall, a dry waterfall, I've found that just going up and around to the left over there's usually a ridge, and there's even evidence that other people have done the same thing. So, and then descending again into the canyon. So, not a big problem. I'm looking forward to getting around this next bend to see if we've got a view of Mount Wilson. And let's do a 360. Here we are looking up the canyon, and we're looking at the canyon walls above us. And of course you can see down into the canyon right down to where I'm standing. Some really remarkable cacti here. Look at that thing growing out of a rock. You wonder how in the world it anchored itself into that rock. But it did, and it's made a life for itself in that spot. Okay, then looking around. And here we are looking down the canyon. We just came up and continuing around. Yeah, pretty barren here. There are birds. It's the last Saturday in March, around 72 degrees. It goes down to below 50 at night. I think that the reptiles, the snakes, and the lizards are all hibernating at this point. Haven't seen any yet. Okay, let's continue on up. That right turn where I was expecting to see Mount Wilson, instead, there's a pretty substantial little cliff here. So I'm going to head up this direction and just see what we can come up with here. Another large tree, evidence of a lot of water in this area. Lots of springs here. Here's the 360-degree view. As you can see, you further up, the further you get up a canyon, the more rugged and the more likely there's going to be a barrier. And that's another reason I like to travel on ridges rather than down in the canyon wash. Let's go ahead and see if we can get up here and then around this rock formation And maybe then we will see Mount Wilson. What do you think? It looks like this canyon that I've been in, Horse Thief Canyon, is taking me away from Mount Wilson. Not sure, but it just seems that that may be the case. I need to get a better perspective. So what I'm going to do is climb up this ridge here and look around, see what I can see. Because I need to see where Mount Wilson actually is. So here we go. But before we do that, let's just get a quick 360. There's looks like a split off canyon from Horse Thief Canyon, or maybe it's the continuation. I don't know what the main one is. I know the main Horse Thief Canyon is down in this direction, but we did hit that cliff that stopped me from continuing up what I thought could be Horse Thief Canyon. So anyway, yeah, this is where we are. Let's get up to the top of this ridge and just see what we can see. Here we go. This is more like it. Okay, we're up on a ridge, and there's the canyon I came up, Horse Thief Canyon. And to get back down there, I would wind my way along here and then work my way down the side of this to get back. And then head down Horse Thief Canyon till we return to where we began. In the meantime, let's take a look where we are. Now, I would almost bet that that upper ridge straight ahead, at least the one in the background, is the one that we were ascending a few weeks ago in the earlier video. And that would make this Mount Wilson. And it looks like it might be. So, wow. How to get from here to there? It's a good question. I could descend. This is nice and gradual around this area. And I believe it's the continuation of Horse Thief Canyon. And there's the waterfall barrier, little cliff barrier we were at just a moment ago. So if I were to circle around and head in this direction, which looks like a good possibility, then I could either return by way of the ridge that I came up the other week, or I could come back here and look for Horse Thief Canyon and the connection. When I hit the dry waterfall, then I just ascend to this point and then angle my way back down into the canyon. Lots of choices. Lots of choices at this point. Not sure what I want to do. I think that where we stopped a couple weeks ago was right up at this point, or maybe just a little before. So getting up to that ridge would then make it possible to either continue over to Mount Wilson or to head back down that ridge. Hopefully it's the right ridge. If not, then we'll be out here for quite a while. So 360 degree view And one thing that you can see that was not visible earlier is just a little bit of Lake Mead right in the center there. So I may head up to the top up here and then see if there is a way across to that upper ridge system of the Black Mountains. But I'm pretty certain that that's Mount Wilson there. And the question is how to get there in the most direct way possible. So, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. We'll find out. Next video, you'll see what I did. Barrier Head in Horse Thief Canyon. We're back in Horse Thief Canyon now, above that cliff waterfall that we saw a bit ago. Now I can either angle up over this ridge or over this ridge. I'm closer to this ridge. Let's just try this and see if I can head back down into the canyon on the other side of the ridge. Back in Horse Thief Canyon, up, down, and Mount Wilson is up in this direction. In fact, I think that may be Mount Wilson, the elusive Mount Wilson. So now we navigate around all this brush and see if we can find a route that heads up the side of, the west side of the Black Mountains here to Mount Wilson. Otherwise, we're just going to call this the Horse Thief Canyon page on Las Vegas Area Trails, because we may not make Mount Wilson. We don't know. So onward. Arrived in what I'm going to call the Mount Wilson Bowl. and here you see Mount Wilson. The ridge we were on a couple weeks ago. The upper end of Horse Thief Canyon, where it ends right at the west side of the Black Mountains. And then you can see the ridge system for the Black Mountains right up here. There could be a way to actually navigate up to the summit of that ridge, then over to Mount Wilson actually. There's a lot of rocky drop-offs up there. So we're going to look at a few things. One is this is pretty curious. You'll get around the corner and see if there's a back door to the top of this ridge, then up to Mount Wilson, and then down the ridge we traversed a couple weeks ago back to Horse Thief Canyon. I'm not sure I want to retrace my way down in the canyon. As you can see, oh wow, a lot of obstacles, brush, boulders, dry waterfalls. I'm just not sure I want to come back this way. But that's why it's good to have, I may actually, but this is why it's good to have been out here a couple times before, because I recognize a lot of landmarks around here, and from previous trips. And so I've got a number of options for the return trip. So let's continue on, and let's just, I'm going to check this area out when we get around the corner, see if it looks like it could potentially be a direct route up to the upper ridge, and then just looks like it could be just a walk along that upper ridge over to Mount Wilson. I don't know, we're running low on time, so we'll just have to see what things look like as we progress. Here we go. And by the way, here's a look down, back down Horse Thief Canyon, and we're looking over to the Lake Mead area. Should have brought my altimeter. I would guess that we're around 3,000, 3,500 feet. Another 1,500 feet to 2,000 feet to go to get up to Mount Wilson. In the canyon, I just want to get beyond this and get to the base of those mountains. And there's Mount Wilson right in the center. And what I want to do is see if I can ascend to that ridge up there and head back the way that I came a couple weeks ago. And you can see we're really navigating a lot of brush. Let's hope all the snakes are asleep for the winter still. I think that they are, because it's still in the 50s, maybe even in the 40s at night. But that's not going to last long. Okay, so let's continue on up this Horse Thief Canyon and see if we can get to an opening near the top. Well, good news. There's Mount Wilson. Here's the ridge I was on the other week, and it looks like there are some direct routes up to the top of that ridge, and then I'll take that ridge down. So I do not need to take Horse Thief Canyon back. One pass through Horse Thief Canyon was enough for me. Let's take a look, 360 here, where we are. And it looks like from this spot, there are a number of ways potentially to get up to the top of Mount Wilson. The problem is this eats up so much time getting to this point that I can't do it today. I'm past the turnaround point, but it's good to know once I get on that ridge again. Maybe I'll just descend a little bit and skirt around the lower side of those rocks and head up to Mount Wilson. But yeah, there it is. There is the summit up there. Very peaceful in this area. And again, there's Horse Thief Canyon. Looking down toward the beginnings of Horse Thief Canyon, we've passed through all that. Lots of brush and rock. Continually ascending to bypass the brush, which is something I'm doing right now. So let's just see about making a beeline over in this direction toward this ridge. Get up to the top of the ridge, and then we've pretty much got it made. We've been up and down this ridge once before. so you know where it ends up. Okay, onward. If this is exactly the ridge that I need to be on, we're going to find out when I get to the top. If I could traverse over to the next ridge, which would be that ridge, and there's Mount Wilson. So we're very close to the summit. So it depends what we see when we get to the top of this. Either we're going to see that we can head down the ridge the way we came the other week, or it's going to be down, 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 through, back through the Horse Thief Canyon, which will take forever. In the meantime, let's take a look here. What we can see is more of Lake Mead, and you see the Mount Charleston Wilderness in the background over to the left, and you can see Frenchman Mountain, and in front of it Sunrise Mountain. So there are some landmarks that are visible now at this point. So let's go up to this point up here and just see what we can see, and potentially if this will take us down the ridge we were on last time. And again, I think it might be one ridge too soon, but let's just go up there and look around. Continuing around the 360-degree view. Here you're looking at the upper spine. Oops. I'm on a kind of slippery slope here. The upper spine of the Black Mountains. And again, there's Mount Wilson right in the center. View where we are. There you see Lake Mead, the Mount Charleston Wilderness. That's about all I better turn right now. It's all avalanche slope here. I just came up this ridge, and at the bottom of the ridge is Horse Thief Canyon, which is going to be my return route if this does not lead to the upper return ridge. We'll see. It's a big if. Okay, onward. View of Lake Mead, and there you can see Fortification Hill. Gas Peak in the distance. Frenchman Mountain, Sunrise Mountain, the mound in front of it. Frenchman Mountain looks like the camel hump. And then Mount Charleston Wilderness, right up against this rock, just to the right of it. Then we look down. We just came up this. And I hope we don't have to go back down. It all depends on whether we can get over this last section. Then I think I'm on a good ridge, but we don't know. So we will find out. There's the top spine of the Black Mountains. Can't see Mount Wilson at this point. So that's where we are on this avalanche slope. See if we can get up on the ridge and head down the way we came a couple weeks ago. Well, what are the chances? I actually made it up from down below there, Horse Thief Canyon, near the end of Horse Thief Canyon, up to this ridge. And we've been up on this ridge. I'm so glad that it's the same ridge. And there you can see Fortification Hill, Lake Mead. Let's see, let's just zoom in on these. Fortification Hill, and straight behind it is Gas Peak, and then the Sheep Range to the right of Gas Peak. And then we pan over to Frenchman Mountain. And in front, that mound is Sunrise Mountain. And then over this way, we're now looking at the Mount Charleston Wilderness. And then to the left is the La Madre Mountains Wilderness and Rainbow Mountains Wilderness, Red Rock Park, and Potosi Mountain. And then you see the Las Vegas Valley, the I-15 corridor down to Los Angeles. Or I should say toward Los Angeles. And then looking down this way, here you can see the road we came up. Horse Thief Canyon Road. So now what we're going to do to return is we're going to head down this ridge as we did 3 weeks ago and down to the very end, and then we'll take a dive down to the bottom and then navigate our way back to Horse Thief Canyon and Horse Thief Canyon Road and back to where we began. And by the way, much clearer day I think than it was last time. So we'll get a few shots here. Here's the I-11 Highway 93 bridge between Nevada on the right and Arizona on the left. And of course, Lake Mead. And then you can actually see the Las Vegas Strip. And I'll get some clearer shots and put them in the slideshow. So there you have it. What an adventure today. Now a beeline home. Now that we got a better shot, here is Mount Wilson. So close you could touch it. I'm tapped out for the day after that roundabout circuit that I made. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot to go to make it up to the top. So we'll do that again soon.